On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day, and I truly mean that. We've got major news coming out of Tejas. Don't mess with Texas, by the way. And by the way, if you don't understand the thumbnail, then you've definitely not listened to my channel. You should hit subscribe, please, before I insult you and piss you off. Make sure you subscribe first. Hit that thumbs up, too, please. You guys are going to help out the big picture, especially if you do it early on in the video. Tacos thing in Texas. DRS, my emblem, and the man of Texas, Hot Wheels. Arguably the funniest thing Crockett's ever said in her entire life. I think it was very funny. Very funny. Made me laugh. I will say. I know it's insensitive. Shouldn't say those things. I know. Kind of weird breaking news. Fortunately, nobody killed, and the individual, the shooter, has been captured. But 5 soldiers were shot at Fort Stewart. Suspect is in custody. I don't think we know a whole lot more. All 5 soldiers were treated on site and moved to Wynn Army Community Hospital for further treatment. There is no active threat to the community anymore. Let's see, anything else jump out of this? Incident remains under investigation. So, yeah, I don't think we know anything yet. You got to almost kind of, like, you got to figure, like, Marine base or, like, a cop facility are probably 2 of the worst places to have a shootout, right? Like, it's just odd. I mean, it could happen. Obviously, there's weapons around, but it's not a smart place to go. Good old-fashioned fake news. Well, old-fashioned fake news. Already been fired fake news. Fake news that sucked so bad he's not actually currently employed fake news. Jim Acosta, he's been eviscerated for interviewing an AI school shooting victim. So they created an AI version of a dead person that got shot in a school shooting. And then had him talk about what he would do to make himself safe. Oh, man. Oh, it was beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, it was in the most disgusting, atrocious, horrific, I don't know, all the other negative words you can think of kind of way. I mean, good job, Jim Acosta. I'm not going to play it. First off, Jim Acosta's a tard. Second off, I'm not going to play it. Right, but that's just out of control. Another piece of interesting news. Again, Howard Stern, arguably one of the most disliked individuals, certainly from our side of the fence. I, again, have said many a time, I'll say many a more time, he was why I got into radio. I was left center, always didn't bug me until we got way later in life, and he got super crazy far to the left, I think. Again, I don't like him now, haven't for a long time. My friends all listen to him. It's kind of a thing, but I loved him back in the day. Back in the day when he was actually funny. Oh, Fart Man and shit like that. Oh, funny as hell. Private Parts movie. Like, and again, the words you're not supposed to say. Blank Willow. I mean, one of the arguably best bits ever done on radio. So I'll give the man credit where it's due. Jon Stewart, hilarious. That Colbert guy was super funny back in the day. Right? So, again, everybody went weird in the super left direction. Howard Stern's numbers are abysmal. In fact, he used to have about 20 million daily listeners. That's freaking insane for anybody that pays attention. 20 million daily listeners. Insane numbers. He's now down as low as 125,000 at times. Dude's nothing like he once was. So, again, he's 71 years old. He's just over the top, crazy left at this point, and kind of vulgar about it, I feel. He's concerned about his people. He's trying to spin some contract. I don't know, whatever. He's trying to maybe get away from Sirius. We'll see if he does. Corrupted medical societies push SSRIs for pregnant women in defiance of the FDA. Nearly 1 in 5 pregnant women and new moms in this country suffer from anxiety and depression. Not surprised if you think about the way the world is and society and the fear porn and everything. I think even people on our side of the fence experience anxiety and depression a lot because you're constantly told you're not good enough. You're constantly told you should be freaked out. You're constantly told that you should be under duress. And so a lot of us are just, I think, overwhelmed with that PTSD, essentially. It's kind of what it is, I think, to a large extent. Anyway, 68% of pregnant women are being prescribed this antidepressant. It's called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs. But recent expert panel organized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration cast doubt on the safety of SSRIs. Even though these drugs are largely considered safe by healthcare providers, those comments have sparked a swath of criticisms from a number of prominent medical societies. So again, Untreated or undertreated depression during pregnancies carries health risks such as suicide, preterm birth, preeclampsia, I'm not sure what that is, and low birth weight. The Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine wrote in a statement late last month, but apparently the FDA is saying there's some problems with these pills, right? Johnson & Johnson was one of the few large pharmaceutical companies to remain active in neuropsychiatry during a pullback in industry investment last decade. Even now, as companies like Bristol Myers Squibb, AbbVie, however you say that, aim to re-enter via multi-billion-dollar deals, J&J has placed greater emphasis on brain drugs pipeline, right? So what we're finding, to try to simplify this, is we've got these companies that are like buying up some of these other companies, and they're creating these like super drug kind of situations. Self-Toxic, one of the company's chief prospects, they're expecting 1 to 5 billion in annual sales from that one drug. J&J also placed significant expectations on another new depression drug known as anticaprant. Results in phase 3 studies. So yeah, whatever the case is, I guess the FDA is not necessarily in agreement, yet they're still pushing a lot of these. And to pregnant women, which again, they're not even supposed to take vitamins. They're not supposed to like right there. Well, prenatal vitamins, obviously there's vitamins, but they're not supposed to take like aspirin and weird stuff like that, right? Like, so again, they talked about the shot, the COVID. I mean, again, that was like something that was questionable with pregnant women. It's like, really, it's okay. You didn't really do any clinical studies and you're still telling us it's okay. So again, I think we're getting to the bottom of a lot of the FDA issues that we've had. I think we're getting to the bottom of a lot of the problems we've had. Here's another perfect example of that. RFK Jr. talking about one of the big moves they're moving and doing right now. And I think this is a big part of the transition that we're living through. It's not happening fast enough, sure, I'll give you that, but it's happening.
Hi, it's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. here, your HHS secretary. At HHS, we have a division called the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority, or BARDA. BARDA drives some of our most advanced scientific research. It funds developments of vaccines, drugs, diagnostics, and other tools to fight emerging diseases and national health threats. Over the past few weeks, BARDA reviewed 22 mRNA vaccine development investments and began canceling them. Let me explain why. Most of these shots are for flu or COVID, but as the pandemic showed us, mRNA vaccines don't perform well against viruses that infect the upper respiratory tract. Here's the problem. mRNA only codes for a small part of the viral proteins, usually a single antigen. One mutation and the vaccine becomes ineffective. This dynamic drives a phenomenon called antigenic shift, meaning that the vaccine paradoxically encourages new mutations and can actually prolong pandemics as the virus constantly mutates to escape the protective effects of the vaccine. Millions of people, maybe even you or someone you know, caught the Omicron variant despite being vaccinated. That's because a single mutation can make mRNA vaccines ineffective. The same risk applies to flu. After reviewing the science and consulting top experts at NIH and FDA, HHS has determined that mRNA technology poses more risk than benefits for these respiratory viruses. That's why, after extensive review, BARDA has begun the process of terminating these 22 contracts totaling just under $500 million. To replace the troubled mRNA programs, we're prioritizing the development of safer, broader vaccine strategies, like whole virus vaccines and novel platforms that don't collapse when viruses mutate. Let me be absolutely clear. HHS supports safe, effective vaccines for every American who wants them. That's why we're moving beyond the limitations of mRNA for respiratory viruses and investing in better solutions. Thank you.
And
produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And why those vaccines were so important in maintaining new variants. So every time you'd get a bunch of people coming, the Omicron variant came after vaccines, right? And I'm not trying to, be poo-poo on vaccines, though you guys know how I feel about them. But what he was telling us is this variant was created because people were vaccinated. And this virus, trying to preserve itself, which is what any living species does, created a variant of itself that was able to survive the vaccine. or whatever they called it, the mRNA, whatever, right? Gene altering something or other. So it actually ended up creating something that could get everybody sick, for that matter. Now, I think people, again, still with natural immunity, and you can quote me on this, I don't know for sure, but I believe the natural immunity people still, generally speaking, handled the Omicron variant okay. I do remember getting, right around when COVID went around, I got sick, and then I want to say, like 3 years later, I was living here when it happened, so I don't know, probably 3 years later, 4 years later maybe, and I got another like weird flu that was pretty brutal, but again, got rid of them the same way all the way, by the way, used the Ivers, worked incredibly well, turned it around within 24 hours. In both cases, within 24 hours, I was literally on the back, I was on the upswing, and so significantly better than it could have been. Never before seen photos inside Jeffrey Epstein's creepy mansion in, I believe it's New York. Yeah, New York City mansion, Upper East Side. Downstairs, too, apparently, or multiple story anyway. Weird picture of a chick in a wedding outfit holding herself from a rope. That's interesting. Apparently, he had the wonderful Lolita novel, which is what of course he had it, named his plane after it. But it's based off a 1955 novel where a deviant repeatedly rapes a 12-year-old girl with whom he has become obsessed. It was also spotted in his office, but that's what sparked the name of the plane. Not that I'm justifying it; it's just that's not a surprise in any way, shape, or form. Picture of a dollar bill that apparently Bill Gates wrote a note on there where he said, "I was wrong." I'm sure he's like, dude, write that on this thing, seriously, and then date it and sign it. And that's kind of funny because Bill Gates probably never, ever says he's wrong. And so I could see where that would be funny anyway. I've known people like that. I'd be like, what? Hang on. Or you get a girl that says something kind of cool and you're like, dude, say that into my phone. I want that to be my new ringtone, like, that's awesome. It's so big. It's like, oh, must be my girlfriend calling me. So it's so big. Oh, I'll get to it in a sec. It's so big. I'm going to answer it. It's so big in a moment. It's so big. Oh, yeah. Yes, darling. Again, that would be hysterically funny, right? Maybe I took the bit too far, but still, nonetheless. So, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein, that's kind of sort of a nice room. Look at that. Kind of weird. I don't know. Is there something strange? I mean, it's weird. But, that's kind of interesting. Oops, I guess I got to go backwards to go forwards. There's a note, I guess. Anyway, whatever the case is. There was the picture of Trump. I guess I jumped past that, by the way. That's going to be the news. Right? See the picture. This, which is funny because he's got Ghislaine sitting right to his site, but somehow he cropped her punk ass out. Because I've seen this picture before, and she was with him, I believe, if I remember correctly. Whatever the case is. These are... We'll see how they come out. Ghislaine Maxwell told DOJ Trump never did anything concerning around her, so says a report. This is what was told to ABC News. Reportedly told Justice Department officials. Reportedly, we don't know this for sure. I don't know why they're leaking it. I could see the Trump administration wanting to leak this. Again, leaks are a funny thing. I would hope it's not being leaked, but whatever. So supposedly she's even said, like, no, Trump was never around us. So she'll probably help vindicate Trump, and maybe that's where, it's going to look bad. It's going to look like Trump gave her a deal. The tough place they're in. I don't know. We'll see what happens as we get closer to that. A couple funny things with Elon Musk going on with California. Win and a continued battle. The win is pretty sweet, though. Elon Musk and the X platform notch a court win against California's deep fake law. A federal judge on Tuesday struck down a California law restricting AI-generated deepfake content during elections, among the strictest such measures in the country, notching a win for Elon Musk. The judge was like, no. Menendez declined to give an opinion on the free speech arguments that were central to the plaintiff's case, instead citing federal rules for online platforms for his decision. Menendez also said he intends to overrule a second law which would require labels on digitally altered campaign materials and ads for violating the First Amendment. The judge's decisions Tuesday deal a blow to Governor Gavin Newsom, who signed the law last year in a rebuke of Musk, vowing to take action after the tech billionaire and then Donald Trump supporter shared a doctored video of former President Kamala Harris ahead of the election. They try so hard to control the narrative. They just try and try and try. So it was shot down, and that's pretty badass. Now, what's sort of stupid on California's side, go figure, The Coastal Commission's going to fight. The Coastal Commission, because they're worried about pollution on the coast. They're going to fight with Elon Musk regarding the number of launches that he has from SpaceX. They don't want him to do as many of them. He wanted to double, I think, or he wanted to go up from 50 to 95 launches. And staff at the agency charged with protecting California's 840-mile coastline are recommending commissioners reject it. They said, quote, "The simple fact remains that it is a privately owned company engaged in activities primarily for its own commercial business. It's not a public federal agency or conducting its launches on behalf of the federal government." Wow. Is that true? I mean, some of those launches might be for government because Vandenberg is where a lot of that stuff happens. Certainly could be SpaceX too. It is a great place to launch. You know, is what it is. But whatever the case, California being stupid, missing out on the huge amount of money they would get from 45 extra launches. Each one of these launches costs all sorts of money and fees and environmental studies probably and permitting and all sorts of stupid stuff I'm sure that they've got to pay that's baked into the price to launch in a rocket. Oh well, it is what it is. You know, Democrats. So Democrats, the almighty, the awesome. I'm not trying to be a dick to any Democrats that might possibly be watching for some strange reason. The word gerrymander came from Democrats, by the way. It was a governor, I want to say it was. Jerry was his name. And Elbridge Gerry, a founding father, vice president, and governor of Massachusetts, signed off on the district designed to guarantee a seat for the precursor of today's Democratic Party. The district resembled a salamander, so the Boston Gazette deemed it the gerrymander. This is where it came from. And one would say, how do you know he was Republican? I don't know. He's for Boston. Had to have been, right? It has to be. Massachusetts. That's like forever been Democrat. Always. 100%. Got to be. So, yes, what's happened, what's in Illinois, where Pritzker is, where he's like protecting them, the heavily most gerrymandered state possibly, arguably. We've got California, very blue state, threatening to gerrymander because of the gerrymandering that, quote-unquote, Texas is trying to do. We've got New York and other states that have done a great deal. Well, New York, Hochul's talking about gerrymandering, right? She's going to do it now. It's just funny how, you know, for the most part, the left is the ones who do it first. And then if we ever do anything similar, then they freak out, throw all sorts of penalty flags up in the air and expect us to somehow be like, but it's okay when you do it, but not when we do it. And you guys actually believe that it's not okay when we do it. It's because you guys are the virtuous, the Democrats. I'm speaking metaphorically too, because they're doubtful any of them here. But you guys are the ones that are the high and mighty, the moral correctness of the country. And so when you do immoral things, it's okay because you're doing it for democracy. You're doing it for the children. You're trying to get clean water. Like it's always something stupid, right? Trying to save butterflies. Especially those killer ones from Australia. Australia, mate. Texas Democrats have now, they got a problem. This was filed with the Supreme Court, right? Greg Abbott filed this. Emergency petition for writ of quo warranto. We've got an interesting statement that he makes, and I like it. The introduction. What is at stake here? Nothing less than the future of Texas. If a small fraction of recalcitrant lawmakers choose to run out the clock today, then they can do so for any and every regular or special session, potentially bankrupting the state in an attempt to get their way. That means every state budget could be held hostage until the whims of a small fraction of legislators are satisfied. It doesn't have to be that way. The rarely used writ of quo warranto exists to solve rare problems such as this, and this court exists to solve cases with ramifications far beyond the individual parties to this case. So here, too, the court's decision will determine if only 1/3 of the legislature can dictate the outcome for 100% of Texans. Fearing one of 18 items on the special sessions agenda, Democrat members of the Texas House claim an entitlement to abdicate their official duties by refusing to show up to work. Let that be one of 18 things that they're supposed to vote on. By the way, just the reality of it is one of 18 that they're pissed off about that they left. continuing, to deprive the House of a quorum necessary to conduct business and prevent a vote that may not go their way, some House Democrats, led by respondent Wu, recently fled the state and continue to remain absent to this day. The members have abandoned their official duties required by the Constitution, which would allow legislation to pass in a 30-day session that is vital to Texans' needs, such as flood relief, property tax relief, and public school reforms. Public records suggest that the absconding Democrats even solicited money to pay the fines incurred for their absence. The problem here is that the harm these members have inflicted can continually, perpetually. They may return from a quorum break for a few days and then abscond once again if legislation that does not please them is put to a vote. The only check to this hijacking of Texas government, beyond the reach of in-state compulsion tools, is quo warranto. If representatives are free not to show up whenever they choose, then Texans simply do not have a representative government. In fact, they don't have a functioning government at all. This court should make clear that a legislator who does not wish to perform his duties will be stripped of them. From the Statement of Facts section, the regular session of the 89th Texas Legislature concluded on June 2, 2025. Governor Abbott subsequently issued a proclamation announcing a special session to begin July 21st, 2025, and the court should find that Representative Wu has forfeited his office. Oops, I feel like they sort of skipped some pages. After page 3, what do we jump to after 3? 27. All right, well, you get the end of 3, I guess. But the court should find that Representative Wu has forfeited his office as state representative for Texas House District number 137 and thereby created a vacancy. Alternatively, and at the very least, the court should find that Governor Abbott has demonstrated probable grounds to file an information in this nature of quo warranto. Realtor respects request that the court rules by Thursday, August 7th, by 2027. Now, I believe Friday is when they're expected to respond. We'll see if that's the case. What was this one? Texas Supreme Court gives Dems till Friday to respond. So the Dems have till Friday. And what's going to be interesting on this is either A, they try to play hardball, which is fine, and Abbott can always call a secondary session after. If they run out the clock to 15 days, he can just open up another session. But what they're doing is they're costing the people from the flood victims money, property tax, and, 15 other things on top of the 16th thing that happens to do with the redistricting. So 17 of 18 things are not getting handled that need to be handled. They're screwed. And this is what's beautiful about what's happening. And they're in a corner. And so we'll see. Principle is one of those things. I hope they fall in their principle. I hope they do, because they will literally lose their positions. And until the courts can figure out how that goes, this vote's going to happen. We're going to take care of some business. We'll probably pass some other laws while they're dealing with what they're dealing with. And so we'll see. It's up to them if that's what they want to do. I think we've got the people are willing to do what's necessary and are tired of being manipulated by people on the left. Texas Democrats who fled to Illinois forced to evacuate hotel after a bomb threat. I don't know who called it in. It would have been funny if it was the Texas Rangers. Totally could have been Chuck Norris, Chuck Norris doesn't call in bomb threats. Bomb threats call in Chuck Norris. You know what I'm saying? That's how that works. Needless to say. Kind of funny. I mean, it's not okay. I mean, it's like when they swat people. I wouldn't even want them swatted, for that matter. But it's pretty messed up. Marsha Blackburn's apparently going to be running for governor of Tennessee. So good, I guess, yay. And I mostly bring this out because, spent 5 years being a damn Yankee. Finally left. You guys are lucky. But yeah, Marsha's, I think, done a pretty admirable job as Senate. Tennessee, you guys vote funny sometimes, but it is what it is. She's pretty solid. She's been pretty friggin' solid. She can probably make a great governor. In fact, hopefully try to make you guys a little more respectful to the rest. No, I'm just saying. Tennessee's doing very well. But I think, you guys were definitely drifting hardcore left. So it's good that we're seeing that kind of maybe regressed a little bit. GOP congressman presses to change the 25th Amendment after hearing Biden-related testimony. And he's talking about the auto pen, I guess. So they want to revamp of the 25th Amendment powers to the president who is mentally incapacitated. They want to add some language to it. That scares me a lot. I don't know. Andy Biggs, I don't even know if I trust. Who knows? He's a Republican. We're supposed to trust him. That doesn't give, in my opinion, doesn't give him shizzle. But he says, what I think you're going to find is that Joe Biden was a wanderer in the White House and that there was no communication with anybody else of authority. He said this on a podcast of all places. John Solomon's, though. He does a good job. So anyway, We'll get there. We'll get there. DOJ makes a nationwide push to clean voter rolls, purging duplicates and non-citizens. Pretty sweet stuff. The Trump Justice Department has launched this nationwide effort, currently going after California, Wisconsin, Utah, New Hampshire, and Colorado, like Mike and I are talked about. And by the way, I got Mike to talk about. You guys remember that famous picture when Mike walked outside of the White House on the phone? Yeah, we talk about that. I asked him about that. He even said he was glad I brought it up. We'll be playing that in a second. They gave us a sweet-ass deal, too, by the way. My MyPillow lovers out there got a sweet-ass deal. That's going to be happening. But, yeah, so we are fighting the fight. Pam Bondi is trying to help. And we're going after some of the worst states that need their voter rolls cleaned and are dragging their feet and giving the information, and they have to give it. It's a legal thing. It's fantastic. And as I say all that, I want you to meet my good friend, Mike Lindell. I love talking to this guy. He's just so awesome. Mike's just Mike in real life and on the side. Like, he's authentic like me. You know, he's maybe over the top sometimes. That's Mike, right? I'm maybe crazy sometimes. That's me. We're being us, and it's just cool. So that said, Mike's got some cool stuff to share with us. We got a sweet-ass MyPillow ad that's coming from this as well, of course. And, dude, you guys got to take advantage of these deals. They literally are giving me and just like Bannon and like one other guy. We're literally like, we get special deals for you guys because we've earned them. You guys. Right? It's good stuff. Check it out, what we got to offer. Well, everybody, it's my special time. I get to have my good friend Mike Lindell on. Thank you, sir, for being here, not just making the best pillows and the best products and best towels and best bathrobes and best pajamas or panjamas, as my girlfriend calls them, but also helping with the issues with our elections. And I've seen some excellent news that's been coming out. I'm just wondering, what you got any news that you can share with my group?
It's all coming out everywhere right now, but it's there's a lot of what you've heard. You know, you got coming out from Tulsi Gabbard. You got the president's going to be coming out with a special prosecutor and task force from the top down and bottom up. And there's a lot. You know, there's been so many requests made to many states that he specifically mentioned Minnesota, California, and Texas. Those were three that were mentioned directly. But there's a lot more than that. I think the first one was Colorado that they asked for all the, and their time has expired. Now in Minnesota here, our Secretary of State Minnesota said, you're not getting nothing from us. Okay.
But they have to, don't they?
Well, you would think so. It's the President of the United States. So,
well, it's federal elections too. They don't really have authority.
Right. They don't know. It's federal elections that they can, you know, there's so much can be done on the federal part where they don't have it. States have to comply. Yeah. But you know, we're in anomalies, everybody, in history. This stuff is only you could say, well, don't they have to comply? Isn't it the law? Well, sure, it's the law, but they break the law every day.
True. Amen.
You know, we were just talking in the other room, and we were talking about our horrible governor here in Minnesota, Tim Walz, and we were talking about him and I went head to head for years now. And by the way, I'm still very much considering running for governor of Minnesota.
Oh, that'd be cool. I'd like that.
And but we go back a ways, and the nonsensical things that's done that people go. If you'd have had a little time machine, we'd be able to, I don't know, even 6 years ago, open up and go, hey. What? Men and women's sports? What? Transgenders? You would say this is the most nonsense. Like our president said the other day, said these issues aren't 80-20. They're like 99% one or 97-3. And this is where we're at. But great things are coming. And I have been actually so what would be the word? All my time has been spent here at My Pillow this last week, and I don't know if everybody realized, but we're still under the biggest attacks ever in cancellations. And they're saying, well, why are they still attacking you, Mike? Come on, Donald Trump's in power. Everything should be beautiful. No, it's not, because I'm a threat to them. Their biggest threat to get rid of the voting machines and get to paper ballots hand counted.
And
that's what they fear the most.
they dislike you so much too, and they want to hurt you. They want to hurt anybody that's affiliated with you. It's so weird. It's just weird.
It is, and this. When I end up telling the second story, I got my first book, but the second book from 2017 on is going to be like living inside this biggest spy movie going, what did I ever do other than I want to help our country and help all people and get to secure elections? And I was I was with my family this last Sunday, I believe it was, Saturday or Sunday, and we went to a pancake place here in Minnesota, and we no more can get in there. And of course, people recognize me around the restaurant. And this lady, she chimes up on the side there and she goes, Mike, you're a really nice guy, but you're on the wrong team. And now everyone's looking, right? So I walk up to her and I go, I said, I don't know what you mean by the wrong team. I said, we're all on the same team. We're all God's children. And I said, these are all people. And I said, and I started talking to her and I didn't get angry or whatever. It just kind of hit me, but everybody's watching. I said, I'm about securing our elections and stuff, and you all should, and everybody should be. I said, I don't know what you meant by that, but anyway, she kind of backed down, and she didn't know what to say to that, because I think so many people, do I think Donald Trump's the best president in history? Did I say that when I first met him, when I vetted him? I've met him. I have vetted him back in August of 2016. And then when I get attacked, then I go, I met the guy. I talked to his family, his employees. And you can learn a lot about a man by talking to his employees.
You remember the most famous photograph of you pretty much was you walking out of the White House and you had a little bit of your paper exposed and everyone zoomed in on that paper and they're trying to extrapolate what was Mike doing. Anyway, I was just one of the greatest moments. You had to have kind of almost loved that. You were the talk of the town.
Well, no, there's been many times where there was the number one story in the world. The first time was at the White House when I spoke at the right before we all went in for the China virus. We were into lockdown. I spoke at the Rose Garden on stage, and I was supposed to say what the companies were doing for the to help the country, and so what your company was doing. And well, I wrote, and you had to be pre-approved remark. Well, I wrote something on the back of the sheet, and I started out, I said, God gave us grace for such a time as this. A nation had turned its back on God. We need to get back in the Word, read our Bibles, back with our family. You'd think I killed someone. It was the number one story in the world.
Yeah.
I did
you broke all the rules.
110 interviews in 5 days, and from morning till night, and good and bad, but attacking. But the one you're talking about is the very, very famous, probably the most seen photo
I think
last ever, maybe. And what it was on January 15th of 2021. Everybody.
Oh wow.
The story behind that is, I got my evidence on January 9th that explained everything. And this guy, Dennis Montgomery, worked for the CIA, and he had brought all this stuff that had been pulled from the 2020 election. But the problem is he was under a government protection order where he couldn't let it out. Just like all these other politicians and people involved, that sometimes they get they're under protective order because they have too much information, right? Yeah. So I had to get this to the president, and when I went to the president with that evidence, and he had to sign the paper to release all this to the country, I go, wow, this is going to save the world. In the meantime, lawyers had given me an envelope, a sealed envelope, and said, if you get to the president, would you give him this? These are recommendations. Oh. These are recommendations. I had never read that. So I'm glad you brought this up, because this always comes up. I had never read it. I went in to meet the president. It was very hard to get a meeting. This was January 15th, 20. Everybody, 9 days after January 6th. So I put that in your head, everybody. Now I get in there, and there's the direction, this National Security Advisor, Robert O'Brien, sitting in there, and Mark Meadows at the time. So I show the president this one little piece of the evidence, and I said, this And I said, but this protective order needs to be signed so that you can be released to the world. And anyway, we talked a little bit, and then Mark Meadows left, and that Robert O'Brien, I'll never forget it. He goes, "Sir, just don't sign the, don't do this, don't do this. Just the left will go crazy." And he's basically telling him not to do this. And I turned to him and I flipped out. I'm yelling in the Oval Office, going, "What are you talking about? This is a matter just to save our country." I'm screaming in there, right? And the president then sits back and he goes, and I said, "Here, some lawyers gave me this envelope too. It's recommendations that you have." And he said, so he opens up the envelope and the first thing says, "Fire Robert O'Brien." That was the first recommendation, and he's sitting right there. I mean, you can't make this up, right?
Yeah.
He goes, "To fire you." So then he put him back in a packet. He said, "Bring Mike upstairs with the lawyers, and let's see what they have of all this."
Oh, wow.
So they brought me up there. Now the lawyers in the other room opened it up. I didn't even, and I was sitting in the waiting room.
Didn't even know what
and
was in it.
they handed me those papers back.
Huh?
Okay?
Oh.
So they handed me those papers back, and I said, that's my other papers to sign had nothing to do with these lawyer papers. So when I ended up outside while I was waiting for them, I had the papers in my hand. I'm outside the West Wing, and I'm on the phone with my son, and I look, and the media's flying over the hill like buffalo. And I go, "I gotta go." And they all came up and froze.
That's right, yeah, because you were on the phone. I think I remember seeing that too. That's right. That's right.
I was on the phone with my son, and I said, "Darren," I said, "I got to go." The media came over the hill, falling over each other, and they all stopped outside the West Wing. And I looked at them, I go, "Would you all like me to answer questions?" They all go, "Yeah, yeah." And I go, "You know what? I changed my mind. You find something real nice to say about me." And went back in the White House.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Now I get shooed out of the White House about an hour later, and I'm crossing into Virginia, and Ben Carson called me up. He said, "Did you get it signed? Did you get it signed?" I said, "No, Ben." I said, the lawyer shooed me out of there. And he goes, "Well, Mike," because I was devastated. He goes, "Well, Mike, this is all in God's timing. Maybe things have to happen before all the truth can come out." Yeah. Well, here we are 4.5 years later.
Painful 4.5 years.
That gave me a peace at the time, everybody. Amen. Now I get over into Virginia, and there's 12 of us there. And all of a sudden, my daughter sends me a text, and she goes, "Dad, get out of there." Here I am. That's that picture you've seen. Yeah. And when they beamed in, it said martial law on the papers. I never read the papers to this day. They kept them at the White House when I went back in.
And what's so important, I think, for people to understand, because there's a lot of people, at least in my audience anyway, that believe that like you're an actor, right? Like you're playing this part. You know exactly what you're supposed to do when you wake up in the morning. Someone hands you a script. And my point is I think God is doing this all. And so many of us are inspired, I think, by God to act and behave the way we are, which is the perfect time and the perfect place for that. And I think that was exactly what was happening with you. It wasn't something you planned. And that was kind of my question initially. Did you do that on purpose? But no, it happened perfectly.
That was such a divine thing that happened, because that started the attacks on me that never let up. Yep. When the media and the cancellations, but I was able to get the word out about the stolen election and about which manifested in, hey, we've got to get rid of the voting machine. I remember
manifested into lawsuits and a lot of pain.
I did not have a voice other than getting attacked.
Yeah.
So I knew when I first seen that, when my daughter sent that, I said, you know what? I got to call a news outlet that's a fair one. So I called them up and gave them the real story. My phone rang off the hook for a week with Jim Acosta. I remember him being on the other line. I go, "Jim, I'm on the phone with the real reporter. You're going to have to wait." He waited 25 minutes. I mean, they're all but the stories that came out. In fact, I'm having my other son pull back, go in the Wayback Machine on the Google or on the internet and find out all those articles from back then, because it just goes on and on and on and on every day. It never let up, you guys. For myself, being the second most attacked person in the world, I believe MyPillow is the most attacked company in history. And why? Because they don't want to lose their devices to steal the elections, which are the electronic voting machine. There is it doesn't matter what anybody would ever say to me. I just had a person the other day send me an email going, "Mike, your friends in office now, get over your big lies about the voting machines. Haven't you lost enough?" I said 2 years ago, I'll borrow money if I have to. I'm 10 or millions in debt. It doesn't matter.
Like you said, I'm going to lose everything if we don't win
You're
this.
gonna lose everything
So
anyway.
it doesn't
We all
matter.
are.
It's all irrelevant.
Yeah.
Very
Right.
that on the two fronts. I mean, we'll shift into the My Pillow, but you still doing donations to help with your legal stuff?
Yes, we're doing that, and that's what we're just sending out in the other room. You guys, we have about 10 days left to get my lawyers covered for the one appeal, the one that was in Colorado, that where they found I did nothing malicious. I did nothing. I remember My Pillow is found completely exonerated, but there's still that hanging there, and now
Was it 2
we can
counts?
appeal that and get a new trial. We can get a new trial because of the $5 million challenge lawsuit we just won.
Nice.
So, but I've been told if I don't get this money to them, they can't do this appeal and the new trial. So I'm reaching out for help, everybody, and you can go to mypillowtrial.com. I made it very easy. Go to mypillowtrial.com. I can use any help you can get. We've had a lot of people pouring in the help, and we needed 400. I think we're down to about 120 that we need, or 140. And and normally, like, one of the things they can't call me a grifter because I'm be really bad at it.
Yeah, you're like the opposite of a grifter. You're supposed to make money, Mike, not lose it. That's fantastic. Well, one thing you are doing is you're going to lose some money to my audience. You've got a couple sweet deals that you guys are doing through My Pillow for
what we have, you guys, for My Pillow. You guys, we have when two specials collide, two sales collide. I call them
perfect storm.
We had one with the you'll never have a better special ever, and one of them was free shipping on your entire order
for no matter what. Like you could order the $5 Rev 7 and you're going to get free shipping.
You can order the Rev 7. You can order a mattress, 100% made in the USA. You can order anything, and by the way, and then also. It's combined with our employee pricing sale. So we have stuff like our bath or our
bath towels,
our beach towels. This is what we're closing out. We're closing out 50% off, which is what our employees are paying. And then we have pillows. If you go to mypillow.com/OTF, you guys, OTF, all these specials are going to be there. I'm even going to add a third one today.
Whoa. Don didn't even know about this.
So if you buy $100 or more, $75 more. $75 or more. This is the last day for that too, I believe. I just heard that in the other room. We're going to send you over $100 in free digital gifts, and you guys, you are going to love the gifts. So if you're there, you get the free shipping. You get the employee pricing sale, and then you're going to spend some money, spend over 75 or more, and you're going to get $100 and some in free digital gift.
That's so awesome.
You've got it all going on. And one of the products that's going to go fast. These are our oversized bath sheets.
They're huge,
guys,
folks. They're huge.
On sale.
They're
30%
awesome.
off. They are made with the same pure cotton, the best cotton in the world, and they actually work. And then we've got the bath mats that go with them.
That's about the size of the beach towel too, right? Those bath towels.
Yeah. The
beach towels are huge too. Those things are awesome.
Huge.
Yeah, guys, I'm telling you, these are the best towels you'll ever use in your life, and they're huge. Oh, they're incredible. Look at that.
We have all the different, and the beach towels will be going fast. You guys,
you got a great deal going on.
Off, so get them.
Oh wow.
Get them. We've got everything for the kitchen here. Just all the kitchen towels. Nice. They just came in with all different styles of kitchen towels, oven mitts. We got aprons. We've got over 250 My Pillow products. So these two sales that collided are perfect for your audience, and it's a win-win-win. Everybody, you guys get the best products ever. You're helping My Pillow and my employees, and Dan, you've been just a great show to sponsor.
I feel bad. I made up a slogan for you, and I always say it every time I close out. I'm like, get the best night of sleep you've ever had. And I don't know, man. I feel like if you can take it, you can have that. That's yours. I'll give it to you if you haven't used it yet.
Well, we did have the jingle for the best night's sleep in the whole wide world. I think you're plagiarizing my.
I might be. I don't know if there's enough change in that. You're right. Maybe I'm gonna be here cease and desist from my good friend Mike Lindell.
Yeah. The whole generation grew up. We haven't had that jingle on TV for a while, but it just stuck in people's heads. For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, mypillow.com.
I love it. It. That's awesome. Mike, thank you so much for helping my audience. Audience, thank you for helping Mike. This is definitely, we're all working together, and we are in some interesting times in history. So let's do what we can to help. And Mike, thank you so much for being here again. I look forward to talking to you as always.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Keep the faith. God bless you all. Amen. Promo code OTF. Phone number 800-654-4398. 800-654-4398. My employees, my operators love talking to your audience. They absolutely love it.
Love it. Thank you so much,
Mike. The USA.
We'll talk to you soon, sir. God bless. Bye-bye. Folks, I'm telling you, you show up on the radar. You show up on the radar. You guys are that awesome. So seriously, take advantage of it because they love us and we love them, it seems. mypillow.com/OTF. I want to point out just a couple of things you mentioned, and won't spend a long. It's already been 17 minutes, but there's some really cool info in there. Free shipping on anything. That's not going to last more than a week. Odds are it'll stop Sunday, typically how this seems to go. So you got till Sunday. Take advantage of it. The slippers, dude, it's like a cloud inside. I'm not joking. Dudette, maybe. It's like a cloud. This is so awesome. Side stitched, right? You see this? It's like a rubber sole. It's like legit, right? You see how it doesn't like split or anything weird, right? Like this is a legit freaking thing. $39.98. They're giving these away pretty much. It's the last of them. It's the last of the Mohicans. This is the employee pricing sale too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. I don't know what all's in here. This pillow specifically. All right. This pillow's the side stitched one. This is the regular version that I love. It's just side stitched. Mine, the one I typically use is I think she said it was razor stitched or something. Some crazy. Dude, there's terminology in the pillow world. I didn't know. I just found out this morning. That was awesome. My Pillow literally calls me before Mike comes on. I have huge love for the people I work with over there. Great company, great people, amazing people for that matter. And they're giving us a sweet deal, guys. You seriously go check it out. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. mypillow.com/OTF. Towels. All their towels. Best dang towel. These beach blanket. Huge. And that bath towel is amazingly big, folks. Rev 7's awesome. Got to get it. And, again, you guys, you've been through this with me, right? Incredible. And the cross, right? The cross. The Mike Lindell cross. The most famous thing. Mr. Lindell. Not really, but it is always part of his image. It's a beautiful thing. mypillow.com/OTF. mypillow.com/OTF. Did I mention the free shipping? Take advantage of it, guys, and get the best night of sleep you've ever had. Until he tells me legally to stop doing that. Pete Hegseth. He's ordering the return of the Confederate memorial to Arlington National Cemetery. This was busted down during the Black Lives Matter fiasco. Apparently these statues were too dark, and they didn't like that. They're replacing them. So they've been put back down, are being brought back, I should say, which is very cool. And this was, I believe, a Confederate soldier, Confederate general, I think, right? And which is interesting, again, because the Confederates were the Democrats. It's just a beautiful thing how they don't even know their own history. ICE drops the age limit as 80,000 people apply for 10,000 open positions. Any of you guys that are like, I need a job, and there's going to be a lot of openings coming up. Seriously, a lot of openings coming up. So get in shape. Good thing, by the way. If you're somebody that's maybe been a little inactive, maybe remembered why Twinkies taste so good. I don't know. I haven't eaten a Twinkie. I can't even tell you. I hear they last for like 20 years. They say. One of my favorite things is Zombieland. Woody Harrelson's characters always trying to get a Twinkie. Fantastic. DHS is going to open new Speedway Slammer. Yeah, close to the Speedway. There's actually a big old Speedway, the Indianapolis 500, I'm assuming. It's Indianapolis, Indiana. My name's Forrest. I like racing. Yeah, it's they've got the Slammer. They're going to build an alligator Alcatraz. They're going to put it right in the middle of the Speedway, so if they try to escape, they're going to get hit by, 200-mile-an-hour cars. Wham! And that's it. Done. Sorry, don't escape. It's what happens. You get destroyed by a NASCAR racer. I'm kidding, of course. 2 15-year-olds are arrested in connection with DOGE staffer Big Balls. This is sad. This dude got his ass beat. So there were some teenagers. And this is where he thought, I'm older. I got this. I could beat up some teenagers. 15-year-old punk biatch, right? And they were harassing a young lady in a car, trying to steal her car, apparently. And he was like, lady, sweetheart, baby, I'm going to take care of this. You get inside the car. You protect yourself. Lock the door. Whatever. I'm going to take care of this. Big balls. That's probably why he's got the nickname. His testicular fortitude was grandiose. Problem is, these 15-year-olds, and there was like 10 of them all of a sudden anyways, beat him down. Beat him down hard. Graphic video, sorry, our graphic image, sorry. This is big balls, by the way. They fit inside those pants, by the way, it seems. But he got his ass beat. This is what he normally looks like. This is what a mob of 10-year-olds did to him. 15-year-olds, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. It's insane. Even 10, I was a Chuck E. Cheese and mouse one time in my life. We literally had to hold the tail with our hands because stupid little kids would grab it. It was a birthday. I'll never forget it. They were 10-year-olds. That's what the birthday was for. Average age. Dude, they had my head spun sideways. I literally went in the back. I had tears coming down my eyes. I was like, I wanted to kill children. So for anybody that's like, he doesn't have children? Why? My first job, Chuck E. Cheese. What'd you do? Yeah, I gave to my country. I already gave to my country. 10 and 20 and back or whatever. Yeah, oh, cool. I didn't know I had it twice. Donald Trump truthed this and shared this. Crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens, at the same time knowing that they will be almost immediately released. They're not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them. But it's going to happen now. The law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly. Mercilessly. That word. By local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans and, importantly, for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run, and put criminals on notice that they're not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I am going to exert my powers and federalize this city. Make America great again. Remember this. Big balls. First off, doing a bitchin' ass job on DOGE. Some of these kids, man, they're smart as shit. Some of them are very smart. It's pretty cool. Trump fires 5 members of the controversial government board managing Puerto Rico's debt. Puerto Rico's in a mess. They're continuing to be in a mess, and there's a bunch of Democrats that he just fired. Left 2 people on the board of the 5 he fired, which means there were 7, 5 of which were Democrats. They were allegedly borrowing, stealing, everything under the sun, living lavish lives while things were not getting handled. Trump fired them, left the 2 on the board that are there. I'm sure that legally puts them in some sort of okay place, and they'll bring on others, and he'll probably bring them on quickly. Will they all be Republicans? I don't know, but I bet it'll be balanced to a degree, at least from our standpoint. The left won't agree. That'll be entertaining, though, to see how that plays out. Thune's bid to change rules for the nominees. This is the big fight right now. So they're talking about changing this rule to speed up confirmations, changing the Senate's procedural rules with a simple majority vote is sometimes called the nuclear option. They could change that with a majority vote. They don't need the Democrats. Now, granted, the Democrats might run out and go to some other state and protect themselves so they can, can't pass this. They'd probably do something stupid like that. Who knows what they would do? We are at a place right now where there is a fight between 2 factions. There is an attempt to try to broaden this into a civil and things like that, but it's not. The lines don't work well. There's plenty of black people that don't fall into this. There's plenty of Hispanic people that don't fall into this. There's plenty of white people that don't fall into this. It's not the racial divide that they hoped, though they want to make it that way. There's some stories out there that are powerful, that are very racially charged, that are running around right now. In fact, I've intentionally not shared any of them. You guys can find out about them. Yeah, sometimes there's news I ignore. I'm sorry, guys. Because there are things that they do intentionally to try to incite violence. So this is a big deal, this nuclear option. It's going against democracy. Well, technically it's not. And you guys, Democrats, have gerrymandered in Illinois. There's a great example how I think the 70-some% of the popular vote, yet they only got 50% of the votes or something, 50% of the actual, voting or people. Somehow that played out that way. Like, there's obvious examples where it's being misused against people that are conservative or Republicans, which again, whatever. I just want to get people that care about. I like MAGA. I like the concept of MAGA. That works. I'm happy with Fetterman. Fetterman's fine. I don't care. That's fine. I can live with you, Democrat. You're on our same page. Manchin was the other one, man. I'll stand up for myself on that forever. I think I was right 100%, whole way down there. FBI squeezing supervisory intel analyst Brian Otten, now on paid suspension. He's going to cooperate with this conspiracy probe. Otten, who worked with Midyear, Crossfire, FISA, Hunter Laptop, Mar-a-Lago, and the ICA, knows where all the bodies are buried at the Hoover Building, a source says. It's interesting, Paul Sperry, that you quoted, did he actually say knows where all the bodies are buried? Or is that a typo from a super famous guy? I shouldn't do that. I don't know. I know. Mistakes are made. We're supposed to go look up H maybe maybe that's what you're supposed to do. Go look up H in the Q posts, and then you'll find the letter number 17. I'm kidding. I'm just trying to be I think I'm being a dick. I shouldn't be. It's not nice of me. It's not nice of me. No, it's not. Sometimes it's just fun. I shouldn't do it. This is interesting. Whistleblower, former Attorney General Bill Barr, and media figure Armstrong Williams are running illegal visa fraud schemes for foreign billionaires. This is Project Veritas posted this, which is not my boy. What's his face? The DG. What is it? The OMG. Right? It's not that. It's Project Veritas. The people that fired him, kicked him from his own company that he created. It's just like, oh man, contracts are a funny thing. Getting people involved, going public. Oh, there's so many things that are bad. Anyways. It's clear why I'm being prosecuted and no one else is. I reported Bill Barr and Armstrong, this chick says. Bill Barr knows the companies that they launched for the visa was not real companies. So this chick, whoever she is, Patricia Lialis, I don't know, she probably says it all fancy. Patricia Lialis. She probably says it fancy. I don't know how you do it, though. I don't know. There's accents in place. I don't even know what you do with those things. There's a dot, at least, over the I, so that helps. But break outside of that, I don't know. All said, she's reported men for sexual harassment. This is, unfortunately, apparently not the first time. It's in context. Again, this is someone that's known as a liar. This is what she does. She's known as a liar. And yeah, again, they just use people to spew all sorts of nonsense. James Clapper was on the team that manufactured the weapons of mass destruction information. That got us into the war with Iraq. That one. Yeah, you guys remember that. Most of you should. Might have been younger-ish like me, but...
James Clapper was on the team that manufactured intelligence assessment that led to the Iraq war, about the Iraq WMDs. He writes about it in his book, saying that he and his team of intelligence analysts created something that was not there. When you look at his actions then, and you look at his actions in 2016 as Obama's director of national intelligence, you see someone who has no problem whatsoever politicizing and manufacturing and weaponizing intelligence for a political outcome.
And I mean, that generation of intelligence leaders, whether it be Clapper or Mike Morell, who instigated the Dirty 51 letter saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation, John Brennan, all of them are of the same ilk. They were all there at the beginning of the Iraq lie. And here they are, the Russia collusion lie, the Hunter Biden laptop lie. What will happen to them? Because I can't imagine, they got away with it with Iraq. If they get away with it with Russia, the Russia hoax, what's ever going to stop it?
Accountability.
And does that mean jail?
Accountability has to take place.
Is that jail?
We've referred all of the documents we have found. We will continue to refer them to the Department of Justice for a criminal referral. Attorney General Pam Bondi has created a strike force team in order to look at,
which is serious. Strike force team.
It is a serious thing that really draws into focus one team of her attorneys that's focused singularly on this issue, which is critical. Accountability to those who are culpable for this, are responsible for this, but also it's they are the most well-known individuals. But when you talk about how do we change this, we have to recognize that both of them, John Brennan and James Clapper, as leaders in the intelligence community, they have their own disciples. They have a lot of their own people that they brought in with them, or that they, mentored in a mirroring of their own image, and many of those people still exist within the intelligence community now. So these documents that we're finding, we are uncovering names of people who were involved with this Russia hoax, this manufactured intelligence document, and
people
finding people whose names would otherwise never be known publicly. And fundamentally, we are working towards making change, institutional change. And this is a major area of focus for me, institutional change that will undo the infrastructure that people like John Brennan and James Clapper built that allowed these bad actors to thrive and to be promoted into very, very powerful positions within the intelligence community.
Yeah. I mean, again, all we can do is we have to shut down these mechanisms, take it away from them. John Brennan talking about now he's going to be indicted. He says we never wrote that Trump colluded with Russia. I guess I'll play his words saying it.
And the intelligence community assessment that we wrote back then, that the analysts wrote, said that we didn't have any information whatsoever about what the impact was on the election. That intelligence community assessment never mentioned the word collusion. Not at all. So what they do is they misrepresent the facts, mischaracterize what it said, and then claim that we were engaged in this big conspiracy. Well, as Simone pointed out, President Obama told us, make sure you don't do anything at all that is going to any way affect the outcome of that election. Don't do anything, and make sure that you don't get these reports released that named individuals, had American citizens' names in them. And so we did our utmost to make sure that we carried out our responsibilities with the integrity that we're supposed to.
The amount of information that relates to collusion and obstruction activity is really quite extensive in this report. I think by anyone's account, you can identify all the things that were going on between individuals associated with the Trump campaign and interactions and meetings with Russians. It was quite I think, enlightening.
And they knew. And the idea that we didn't want to talk about how our elections were being hijacked because it might embarrass the people involved in the theft of the country. If these things that are coming out are true. Robert Mueller subpoenaed over Russia hoax, living in memory care facility, apparently. Can't remember things. He's in a facility been there for a couple of years. You don't think they saw this coming? This is how they roll. All you guys got to be like, oh, shit. A little bit. See, these guys aren't stupid. Epstein, there's no files. Not stupid. The ones that are there are probably bullshit. They're not stupid. Memory care. Ah, it's beautiful. Shocking record explosion in student loan delinquencies. Huge. There's the graph. This is the graph that keeps on giving. By loan type, student loans the red one, right? So if we go back and then we show it by the red ones by age. So yeah, we got a pretty big swipeys at the the 50 plus are the ones that are doing the most, by the way, which is kind of funny if you think about it. These are the ones that I went and got a degree because I thought it was a good idea. All right, well, you got to pay off that debt. I didn't make any money with the degree. Well, then why'd you get one? Because I wanted to be a better mom or something. I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. You don't get a free degree, and then what's the point? Like, it's not even a degree if you're not using it. Like, it's just stupid. No offense to all the people out there. I have a stupid degree that I don't use, right? A bunch of us did. Cash sent home by Mexicans craters, 16.2%. That's a big amount of money. We're talking about billions of dollars here, folks, that's not going into Mexico anymore. These things, and Trump understands this, affect our borders. Canada's the same way. The amount of American money that drives across the border and then comes back home with cool stuff that just pretends that they didn't, is it stashed in the trunk in the cutout spot, right? And I don't mean drugs. I mean, like, syrup. 16.2%, man. That's a butt ton of money. Brazil's Lula is pissed. He's like, I'm not going to call Trump. I'm not afraid of him. He hasn't really made a tariff deal with us, so we've got a pretty strong tariff deal. We've made some pretty strong concessions against that company. We're essentially just like smacking them with the glove multiple times. And what do you say now? And the guy's like, I say nothing. Okay, well, he's rocking and rolling. I mean, I think we're most pissed now at this moment because they put the President Bolsonaro, or ex-president, but he should be president, Bolsonaro in jail. Bolsonaro is going to be like the version of Trump. He's doing the jail thing. And then to the people, he's going to be this magnificent leader. Dun, dun, dun. Everyone's going to vote for him in huge numbers. He'll win overwhelmingly. Somehow the Supreme Court guy, I don't know, will have like a skydiving accident. It would be kind of funny because the guy probably doesn't skydive. Though I've seen a weird version of his gown thingy that he wears, his dress, that looks like it's flowing, like it's like got wings. I don't know if that's part of it or if it was just breezy in the picture. Very strange. I don't know what's up with his little angel costume that I saw him wearing. Part of me wants to go dig it up, but I don't think it's worth it. Trump donates paycheck to White House Historical Association. I think it's funny. So the stuff he's like doing for the house, he's like, I'm building, a new dance floor, and it's like he's paying for it, and people can't bitch about it. Where's the money going to come from? My pocket. You're a dick. It's like, what do you say? I'm gonna add on an entire room to your house, completely legal, and it'll be sweet, and it'll increase the value of your home. And do I got to pay for it? No, you don't owe me nothing. I'll never talk to you again. Dick. Like, whatever. People are funny. They're funny. The search for Powell's replacement at the Fed has narrowed. Well, we certainly know it's not Besant. They named two Kevins. He's got a double Kevin thing. Kevin squared. There's a Kevin and Kevin. That's one way to look at it. Where's the actual last names? Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh. I'm not sure which one I want. Which one's Warsh? Yeah. We'll see. He left two others. He's like, there's four of them. Here's two. It's not Besant. And then that was it. And everyone's like, well, what about the other two? Trump's like, I don't know. And just walks away. It's like, all right, whatever. Trump slaps India with additional 25% tariffs over this Russia energy stuff. Again, another country that he's like, I don't know. No disrespect to India and Indians. Got some very good friends that are there. I mean, especially when it comes to cricket. Dude, don't fuck with India, dude. They will beat you down. Over a very extended period of time with tea breaks in between and shit. Like, it's a weird sport. I haven't watched it. I've never watched it. I don't think I've ever seen a cricket match. I know a lot of people are like, seriously, there's a bunch of people just freaking almost died. Almost. I've seen rugby, by the way. Watched the All Black play. I think it was Australia. I don't remember what they were called, but I remember the hock, dude. The Hock'em was fucking cool as shit. That was a very cool experience. President Trump is supposedly Apple's giving $100 billion. He's telling us this. This is being exposed. Apple's supposed to be spending another $500 billion, I want to say they said recently, in stuff here. I'm wondering, and there's some question whether or not Apple's just doing this to try to buy time until Trump's not in office, or is Apple legitimate about, because see, they moved their manufacturing to India and Trump just tacked on another 25%. I mean, in all honesty, the way the deep state works, the way the deep world works, that could have been a direct attack on Apple. It's like, well, I was initially going to tear up the shit out of China because that's where you were manufacturing with Uyghurs, frankly, slaves. And then you're like, I won't do that. We're going to go to India and probably had slaves that were going to manufacture your stuff there. I'm alleging, I don't know. Okay. Don't go and get pissed at me, Apple. Just saying, probably because you did it in China. Pretty sure. All said, none of this stuff I know for sure. Okay. I don't have any facts. It's just the Uyghurs is one of the stories that came out. So I don't know. And they were slaves. That said, India, no, not so much happening. And then here we are, $100 billion more going into U.S. I don't know. I don't know. I don't trust, no offense, guys. Yeah, Apple's the best. I don't trust Apple at all. You know that. There's zero love. I don't necessarily like swear my life on Samsung either. Silver's up today, man, by the way. It's up 14 cents, which is a trip. Gold is up still. Cool. All right, 24.30. It's down a little. Whatever. Yeah, so nobody knows anything about stock markets anymore. Nothing matters. There's a zero, right? Trump's talking all this crazy stuff, but we've got weird stuff going on all over the place. Hey, look, they actually, I got a way to talk about them today. DRSlikesgold.com. Just again, the system. One of the reasons you get into a precious metal, especially in my opinion, this is not what Goldco is going to tell you. They're not going to advise. They're going to advise you on how to do this properly, not why you should do this properly. I'm going to tell you why I think this is a good idea. First off, the stock market, they always get the heads up. The future is always something, right? They know in advance. Nancy Pelosi, people like that, they always kind of get the jump on you, right? Then the following day, people like us, we get to react. They've already gotten out. Everything's cool with them. The dollar's in a weird place, too, where its value is constantly changing. A big part of that being referenced here with the price of gold going up and down, right? Gold's it's just all the dollar. It's buying power, okay? You're not doing this to get rich. What you're doing, I mean, first off, it's done admirably, but you're doing this to protect your wealth right now. Inflation's out of control. Inflation's not necessarily going away. Interest rates haven't come down. When they do, it'll be questionable what that does to inflation. Hopefully nothing bad. We'll see. Trump's doing everything he can to smooth this out, but ultimately, the Fed's kind of got to come down. Now, we said gold would be a part of that. And the reason is the new currency will be backed by gold or silver. If you've already gotten out of the Federal Reserve at the good time while the stocks are still high and the price of gold and silver aren't ridiculous because of inflation, they're still good. They're high. I just bought some more silver. It's not a bad time to buy, especially silver. They're going to give you 10% free silver. Goldco. It's a pretty cool, sweet deal. If you got a 401k or an IRA, 10% of face value that you move over or diversify. This coming change will put you in a position to have the precious metals already that you can very easily transfer to the treasury precious metal backed currency that we'll have. It will be backed in some form of precious metals. You will have the precious metals. You hand it to them and I get some of those currencies. That's what it's for, to protect your wealth. Get as much of it as you can, tax-free, penalty-free, by the way, over to this other place where you can hang on to it while the craziness, because it'll hold value. 1 ounce of gold, this is what people have actually verified to a degree. Back in the day, you could get a tailor-made suit for 1 ounce of gold. Today, you can get a tailor-made suit for 1 ounce of gold. Now, none of us, I got a crap-ass suit. I don't have a reason to buy that nice of a suit. But the value stays the same. You're not doing it to get rich, though it's performed really well. You're doing it to protect until we can complete the transaction, if you will. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Let my good friends at Goldco help you do this. My chosen route to aligning your energy with a safer, worry-free retirement truly is. This is your chance to relax while the crazy is happening. It's like having a bobber for fishing. It'll move. You don't need to be like, right? You don't need to, unless you want to be so hands-on, but you don't need to. It'll hold you until the time is right. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you. And from, most part, we've seen people do that. Pro-Trump nationalist has become Poland's new president. Uh-oh. Another conservative. Peace, baby. Just drops the mic and walked out with his hot wife in blue. At least she seems hot. I don't know. So, again, there's a movement happening. UK details its bank account surveillance powers. They're planning on this whole new thing where they're going to actually look at people's spendings in the England. Yeah, it gets you so bummed. Seriously, I don't know. I don't know what England's going to do if they need us to finish first, which would be weird because ultimately a lot of people right now, at least I'm seeing, one of the places they're circling, there's two places, I guess, Israel and London. These seem to be like the two places that are being kind of called out, right? And Geneva, Switzerland probably too, but still. What's happening is crazy, obviously. The surveillance, the censorship, it's extraordinary. It's just kicked in England. And again, we'd never know if they're mad anyways. Nobody can tell. Nobody can tell. Not unless they're finally throwing fisticuffs, as they would say. NATO leaders do whatever I want, is what Trump is telling them, and they do. They do. So that was told to me by every leader at NATO, which they do whatever I want. And that's the thing. Everyone wants to be a part of this awesome, growing country. This is coming from Russian times, for crying out loud. And it's true. Now, again, there's a lot going on in Russia. EU, by the way, nations right now are like, I don't know if we want to buy F-35s. And I'm going to be honest. I think there's more to this. First off, there's a better plane. We got the F-47. And the F-35 is a pile of shit. No offense, but it is. It's not that great an airplane. It isn't. The F-22 is significantly better in every way, shape, and form. Way more expensive, way more difficult. There's some problems with it, but the F-35, come on, guys. It isn't maybe somewhat stealthy, but it's, please. It's the crap jet. It's our, what was remember like the F-40 or something. I forget what it was. It was a stupid jet back in the 80s. It was just this cheap-ass shit jet that we made. We'd sell it to everybody. It was a crap jet. It was just a crap-ass jet. This one's better than that, I guess, but whatever. Which one? Tiger Shark? Was it Tiger Shark or... It's not the F5, I hope, because that was a decent plane, but whatever. Anti-Israel photographer stages photographs of hunger in Gaza. Literally, just got people, like, they're just doing fake pictures. This is, again, the media. Deep state media. This is what they do. Don't be surprised. I wish mainstream media would cover this. Don't even care. Like, I mean, who cares? It's what they do. They are an intelligence apparatus of the deep state meant to control our thoughts. So don't get upset that they're stupid. A U.S. plane designed to track nuclear testing has been flying over near Russia's nuclear bases in northwest of the country on Tuesday. What they're playing this off is that Russia's doing something scandalous. What my guess is somebody's trying to smuggle a weapon somewhere. Probably from Ukraine into Russia. There's this thing they were talking about, England possibly doing some sort of weird thing with the ship. So there's a nuke or the nuclear materials or nuclear weapons that are in concern. There's probably a few places we're actually doing this, not just here, But yeah, there's something's in the wind, they would say. Something's in the wind. Moldova is, they've jailed their popular pro-Russian governor, which is pissing off the Kremlin. Again, this is more of probably the West, UK, probably. No offense, but probably. I think Trump's not doing this stuff anymore. I don't think, maybe the CIA is still doing stuff we don't have control of. Totally possible. But yeah, this governor of Russia-speaking Gagauzia, autonomous Gagauzia, autonomous region of Evgenia Gutul. Why did I even bother? Like, I should have known. Just not to try to read that. Those names are impossible, Dan. You will fuck your tongue up, man. Remember that last time? Trump envoy Witkoff arrives in Moscow. They met with Putin. He talked. They had a chit-chat. I don't know. Trump's like, oh, a good talk. Every time he says that. And then his wife's like, they just blew up a bunch of buildings. He's like, shit. And so, who knows? I am reasonably sure they are trying to figure out how to end this war. Amicably, certainly. We need to move forward. Russia, U.S., happy, right? We need to. And they have to have something publicly that can kind of bring all this shit together and solve the Ukraine problem, which is where the Khazarian mafia is. So, again, a lot of things that have to be resolved. Trump kind of laid down a time frame. It seems that Russia's maybe, I mean, literally, Witkoff supposedly met with Putin. Like, this is, like, here's what he's presenting to you. Are you willing to sign this? And if the answer is yes, Trump's like, we can meet someplace. And there is, there's a Chinese meeting coming up, and I would hope we would have this before September. So again, a lot of interesting things happening. And I know they're going to play out perfectly. I just don't know exactly what perfect is. That's I feel the tricky part, right? Some of you guys maybe have that dialed in. I feel you. Donald Trump truth this. My special envoy, Steve Witkoff, just had a highly productive meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Great progress was made. Afterwards, I updated some of our European allies. Everyone agrees this war must come to a close, and we will work towards that in the days and weeks to come. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This got communicated to the rest of Europe, which I don't want to say ceasefire, but we do know that there was a theory going around that something crazy drastic was going to happen. And Putin might have made some sort of maneuver that makes that extraordinarily difficult via Trump saying, hey, leave him alone. Leave him alone for a couple days. And if anyone breaks that, then he can kind of break from them, which England likely going to do. Well, it's going to be through England. No offense to the English. It's not the Brits, right? It's not their fault. It's the deep state in London. Unfortunately, England has been in the center of a lot of this corruption from, for a very long time. For a very long time. That's why they don't have to have good teeth. It doesn't matter. They're English. There's like, do you realize I'm British? Right? Listen to me. Hello. Right? It's that easy for them. NATO member scrambles jets as Russia destroys gas facility key to imports from the U.S. So this was a bit of a something at us. This was in Ukraine. It was used to transport LNG, liquid natural gas, to Azerbaijan and other places even from there. It got attacked. And it was close to the border of a NATO country. They're trying to make a big damn deal about it. And, there were supposedly drones in the air. Like, that was kind of confirmed. They got F-16s up, but again, nothing happened on their side. They wanted it to so badly. NATO wants so badly, but they didn't get it. And they're not going to. All these things said, we're still working forward, moving forward, and trying to get to the other side of this. I want to remind you guys, we've got, of course, Law of One. 37, 38 tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. If you join it if you want, it's very interesting information, channeled stuff back from the 80s, kind of gets into, where our universe came from, and just some of the larger questions, I think, in life. It's fun, but it's not like religious or in any sort of way. It doesn't really not be spiritual, but it definitely talks about a creator, a soul creator, which I think is important. all said. Got that. And then we also got Friday music. Doing 4 for Friday, even though, again, like I've said, it was impossible on one side of it. I'm doing the Beatles. It was impossible for me to pick only 4 songs of the Beatles. I had no problem doing 4 songs for the 3 people that I chose of the band. Obviously, Ringo was not chosen. Why would I choose any of his music? So yeah, we got Harrison, McCartney, and Lennon. They've got their little section of 4, and then like 6 songs probably, maybe by Beatles, maybe 7. I don't know. Lost count. Couldn't stop. It was hard even where I was at. I easily could do 3 hours of the Beatles probably. Well, every song's like 3 minutes long, so maybe I could do like 2 hours, but still, a lot of damn good songs. All said, a lot happening this week. Please join me. We'll be live in a few of those shows, and I'm with you guys all the way. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.